Hello, in this video I will be explain what is scope in JavaScript and what is closure, what is promise, what is this keyword and what is pure and pure component and what is higher order function and higher order component in React. So scope is the context in which variable are declared or define or accessible. So there are two types of scope in JavaScript. One was global scope and second one is local scope. If we declare any variable in the global scopes, it will access throughout the entire code. And variable local scope have two scope also in their categorization. One was the functional scope and second one is the block scope. In functional scope, any variable are defined inside a function are only accessible into that area, and if any variable are defined into the block scopes, it will accessible into that block area. Let me show you the example of scopes. So here I create a variable my var I am global. So this variable is declared in the global scope. Second function scope example. So I declare I if I define a function and declare a variable inside that, so this variable are limited to their local scope only. So outside of that function we are not accessing, we have not access to that variable. And in that block scope, I have defined a block scope variable. So this variable are is only accessible into that block only. Second, what is closure? Closure is defined, is created when we define a function inside another function, and in an inner function remember the variable of outer function after outer function finish executing it. Also let me show you the example of closures. So this is the closure example. So I define a function outer function and declare a variable function outer, declare a variable let outer where I am outer variable, and define a inner function and print the outer function variable inside the inner function and return the function. Here I took the reference of inner function and call it. So I get the access, get the outer variable, but outer function is already executed, but I have by my but my inner function remember the outer function variable. Promises. So what is promises? Promises in JavaScript is object that represent the eventual completion or failure of asynchronous task. If the task is complete, if the task is com- promises is a way to handle the asynchronous task that represent the eventual completion of object, eventual completion of an object, eventual completion of eventual completion of asynchronous task. And if the task is successfully So if promise is resolved, then task is successfully executed, and task is failed if task is rejected, then the asynchronous task is failed. So promises have three states: pending, fulfilled, or rejected. If a state is pending, it will tell us the asynchronous task in progress. If fulfilled, asynchronous task is completed, and is rejected, then asynchronous task is rejected or failed. From to handle the promises, we use dot catch and dot then or dot catch method to handling the promises. Avoiding callback help to organize our code more maintainable way. If our promise is successfully uh, fulfilled, then we use dot then method, and if our promise is rejected, we use dot catch method. This keyword is referred to the this keyword is referred to the current context in which function is called, and its value depend how function is invoked. In global scope, we access this keyword, so it will print the window object inside browser, and in Node.js it will print the global object. Inside a regular function, it will print the global object, and in a object this refer to the current object, and if we try to access its method, so it will refer to this object, and we can access this property and method from it. Let me show you the code example of promises or this keyword. So here I defined a promise using new keyword and constructor promise. Inside that I pass a executor function, and function take the two parameter resolve and reject, and it have a define a success variable to simulating the success or failure of our promise. If success is true, then it will execute the code block of promise is fulfilled, and else it will execute the promise is rejected. To handling the promise, I use dot then, so it will show our promise is fulfilled successfully, and dot catch our promises have error console. So this keyword example in global context, this keyword refer to the global object or window object in browser, and inside the object this refer to the object itself, and here I can access this property using this dot name, and if I print object method, it will print the my object. In regular function, this refer to the global object, or in strict mode it will refer to it print undefined. Arrow function don't have their this, it will refer to their lexical bounded this closing context. What is pure function and pure component? Pure function are function that produce same output for the same input, and pure component in React.js are they produce same result for the same state and probe. It will do a shallow comparison to avoid unnecessary re-renders. So that's it, the pure function, and let me show you the example of pure function. So this is a pure function. It will take a two input or parameter and produce a same output always for the same input. If I add them three, so it will always produce 8 for the same inputs. Okay, and what was the pure component? Pure component, we use React.memo to optimize the pure component, and it will only change or re-render when the prop1 and prop2 change, or any state variable in that function change. What is higher order function and component? Higher order function take another function as an argue, as a parameter, or return a function, and that's called a higher order function, and it is used this is the higher order function, and it will receive a function as an parameter, and it will call here something, and my callback function, and higher order function take it as a callback function. And what are the higher order component? Higher order component take another component, make some changes in it, and return it to the enhanced component. So add some functionality to it and return it from the, and we can use it in the our application. So higher order function basically take another component as a input, as a parameter, and made some changes it, and return from the from the component, and to use our application.